Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we were at Brennan Theaters watching Hotel Artemis. Now, this movie I was extremely excited about. Watching the trailers, it has kind of a John Wick Hotel with Rules vibe to it. Watching the movie, that's really not what it was, but it was extremely entertaining. The movie definitely has more of a front-ended focus. It spends 75% of the movie focusing on the build-up and explaining the situation and getting to the point. And then when the climax hit, I mean, it happens fast. It's like bam, 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 movie's over. While I would have liked more once the climax hit, I would have liked it to be a little longer. I understand they wanted to make each character sufficiently explained and fleshed out so that when everything does happen towards the end of the movie, you're invested and you definitely want to see and understand what's going on.
After seeing the trailers for this, it was something that looked super interesting. Great way to kind of start off that summer roll. You know, we had some bigger releases from some of the really big companies, but this seemed like kind of like the next indie thing, the thing that would potentially be like a John Wick or something along those lines that has those interesting actions, maybe even down to like the whole like bullet counting type of thing. And that's, per what Nick said, that's not really what took place in this one. It was a little bit more of a slow burn. It was more specifically about the characters than it was about the action points that came throughout the film. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Smokin' Aces. Not necessarily that it was good or bad in any way as compared to that film, but that it was a large number of characters all kind of meeting up in one place, creating drama and, you know, intense scenes, having these characters interact in new and interesting ways. It's incredibly stylized, a film that has a lot of dark and neon type tones to it. It's meant to give it that seedy type of look, and it does it in a very good way, but it is something that is fairly derivative. It's not something where it's an original look by any stretch of the imagination. A lot of films are doing this at this point in time, so there wasn't anything super special about it visually speaking. It does take place not in our current timeline, a little bit further down the line. There is some interesting tech and some little tiny sci-fi pieces to it. It's interesting. It makes a lot of sense on screen, but it's not anything new or anything that's going to jump out at you as original or nuanced in any way.
I was really impressed with the performances in this movie. I mean, you have the basic performances like Charlie Day, which does what he always does, and he does it well. You've also got the young lady from Kingsman that I forget her name, but she did a fantastic job as well. She's 100% BA in anything she's in, and this was no exception. Batista did a good job. His accent was really bad, but other than his accent, I felt good about his character. I felt connected to his character. I understood what his relationship was with Jodie Foster's character, and I definitely appreciated where he was coming from. He was probably my favorite character in the movie, and I really enjoyed what they did with him. The villain of the movie, I mean, it's a hotel of criminals, so I mean, they're all villains, but you'll know what I mean when you see the movie, and I won't give it away because it's a bit of a surprise, at least it was for me. I thought he did a fantastic job for his part in the movie, which was important. I thought he was quite the presence on screen, and he had a great intro, and everything was really cool about that character.
But as far as the actual performances are concerned, the actors do a great job of building that tension between each other, and their will they, won't they things. There's also who's going to end up fighting who, and what kind of resolution are you going to get with all these little tiny, interactions and conflicts, because it's not a large cast of characters, but they all seem to play a large role in the film in some way, shape, or form. Jodie Foster is a fantastic actress. She shows a lot of emotion in this role and also has kind of a turmoil about her that just seems like gives that character some depth, whereas you could potentially have someone standing in and not doing as good a job. She excels in, showing that duality, that fight, what's going on inside and what you're dealing with on the outside.
Now when it comes to the meat, which is the two leads, Jodie Foster, who of course plays the nurse in the hospital, the hotel, did a fantastic job. She's a very interesting character. She's got like all these idiosyncrasies about her, like she walks really fast in small steps. She speaks with a specific candor. They even made her look older than she was, which I thought was kind of weird, but they definitely made her look older than she was. I really enjoyed her character. She is the central point. She is what you spend most of the movie following, so she has to be interesting. And I do believe she was extremely interesting. And then the other lead, Sterling K. Brown, was really great. He demands a presence on screen. He's not quite Idris Elba levels of badass, but he is definitely badass. I really enjoyed him. He has a stoic way about him, and it just makes you want to see more of him and want more of his character. He has almost a silent, mysterious way about him. It was really cool.
There were a few songs that kind of played throughout. They have a specific connection to the actual story of the film. Anytime a song comes up, it was always something that was like, oh, that's super cool. I like the way that they're using the music. It's not super original anymore. A lot of movies are doing this right now, where a music has a specific entry point to build itself into the story. That's something that's happening a lot more recently, rather than just being something that's kind of in the background playing. But they use it very well here, and it has its own place in the story, and I feel like that was something that I enjoyed personally. A lot of the songs I knew, so it was something that, like, there are little things in there that kind of reminded me of, like, my childhood and that sort of thing, which is interesting considering there's a lot of chaos going on screen. It's interesting to have that little piece to kind of connect you to the film.
This is a character-driven film. It's all about the characters. If you're not interested in the characters, you're not going to like the film, because it is a character piece. And with that being said, I loved all the characters. I thought they were all really well done. Like I said, my only complaint is I wish it was a little bit longer. And the very end of the movie, I don't know if that's how I would have wanted it to end, but it wasn't a horrible ending. It just wasn't necessarily what I wanted specifically. But those are small gripes. This is a fun movie. If you watch the trailer to this movie and you're like, you know, that looks interesting, I'm intrigued, watch this movie, because it is exactly what they're showing it to be, and it was a lot of fun.
This movie's just a lot of fun. It's, if you aren't going in looking for, like, the deepest plot imaginable, just looking for some good performances and a good time, this is definitely a movie to check out. More than likely, it'll probably be in theaters for a little while, so I would definitely suggest to see it in theaters. I'm probably going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. While it's not perfect, it is something that, like I said, I enjoyed thoroughly, and it was something that was a fun ride, and I enjoyed the performances and the way that they were able to kind of tie all of these different characters together.
So I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a solid action film. It's nothing that's going to blow your mind. There's no story twists and turns that you're not going to see coming or anything like that. But from beginning to end, I was intrigued and immersed, and that's really all you can ask for in a movie like this. Fun. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We do a minimum of 4 videos a week, including movie reviews, Funko Pop news, and a bunch of gaming content. If you're interested in getting one of our t-shirts, the link is down in the description. And as always, we hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.